So thank you for coming tonight. I wanted to talk with you about awards and how we get to awards, and specifically setting goals and meeting those goals. So that's the shape of the conversation that I'm going to have tonight. Please feel free to ask questions as you go along. So the theme of the year is Stephanie wants us to make all of our clubs simply irresistible. You've heard me say this before. I want you to move from recruiting people to attracting people. A lot of the tools that we have are on My Rotary, and if you don't already have an account there, be sure that you create one. You're going to hear me often talk about going to My Rotary. This is, you go to rotary.org, and then you click on My Rotary. It'll ask you to log in. It's not the same credentials that you would normally use on Club Runner. This is a separate login. It's usually your email as your username, and then you create your own password. There's a password help if you forgot your password. Then you click on My Rotary and look around until you find awards and recognition. So, and again, if you haven't done this before, go to the district website, rotary7910.org, look under member resources. There's a learning page, and on that learning page, I have a 10-minute video on how to log into rotary.org and why you might want to do such a thing. We're going to talk about several reasons why you might want to go there tonight. So going first to awards and recognition, there's a page there that tells you about the many awards that are available from Rotary International, ways to thank people for their many contributions to your club. And you can recognize a club, you can recognize an individual, or you can recognize a non-Rotarian. So, for example, someone in your community that has done something very good, either for your club or for the community, you can give them an award. And there are many of them listed there, so it's worth a good look. But tonight I'm going to concentrate on recognizing a club. And the biggest one is what's called the Club Excellence Award. And here, what you do is you go to Rotary Club Central, and I'll tell you what that is in a minute. You review all the available goals there. There's about 30 goals. Select at least half of them, achieve those goals, and report your achievement in Rotary Club Central. So it's very simple. Create a goal, achieve the goal, and report it. So don't just keep it to yourself. Put it into Rotary Club Central, and that way you can see it, and the district can see it, and Rotary International can see it, and your club will be recognized for what it's achieved. All achievements need to be reported in Rotary Club Central by the 30th of June of each year. If at least half of the clubs in our district earn the Club Excellence Award, then the district earns the District Excellence Award. So I have somewhat of an ulterior motive here in trying to make sure that all of our clubs apply for, and that at least half of our clubs receive the Club Excellence Award. It's not difficult to achieve. It's just a way of keeping your eye on the ball and making sure that you have done the paperwork that goes with reporting such an achievement. Because there are 30 goals, there's a lot of goals. There are 4 that we particularly want you to focus on, and they line up with Rotary's action plan. So the 4 components of the action plan are adaptability, engagement, reach, and impact. And I'll come back and tell you about these again later, but just to get it started, under adaptability, we're most adaptable and flexible if we have strong leadership and a vision of where we're headed. You know, if you don't know where you're going, any road will do, but hopefully you know where you're going, you know where the club wants to go, And you want it not just for your 1 year, you want it for the next 3 years. So the vision is not necessarily a step-by-step plan, but a concept of what the club wants to be when it grows up and how we're going to achieve it. So be sure to get the names of the 3 leaders this year, next year, and the year after that. Put them into Club Runner so that we can all see who they are and that those people can begin learning and working together to create that 3-year vision and to make that happen. Engagement. How many members will participate in service projects? So if we're going to figure out how many members are going to participate in service projects, that implies that we're doing service projects. So there's a lot of other things that can fall under that one goal, but that's where I would like you to start, please. How many members through the year are going to participate in service projects? And let's make that happen. Reach. By how many members will your club grow by the end of the Rotary year? So you know how many you had at the end of last year. By the end of this year, we want to make sure that you have a net +2. You don't go down that number, you go up by 2. And every club has a certain attrition rate. 15% of your people will get transferred to another area or may pass away. So there's always a certain attrition rate with every club. So you're going to have to replace those people and add 2 in order to make the net +2 by the end of the year. Impact. We want to increase your club's impact in the community and in the world through the support of the Rotary Foundation and also through the record keeping that you do for your particular project. How many people was it serving? How did you achieve that? And we want to share it with everybody so we get to brag about you. What we studied at the Action Zone last week, there were 5 of us, 6 of us from this district who went to the Action Zone and met with leaders from districts all over the northern part of North America, all of Canada, all of Alaska, and the northern tier of the United States. With all those wonderful people together, we talked also about the action plan. This is Rotary's vision for how we move forward. Together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. So we're always striving not only to make the community better, but to help each one of the members of our club feel that they personally have gained from the experience of being in Rotary. So here are these 4 components again: impact, reach, engagement, and adaptation. So increase our impact, expand our reach, enhance participant engagement, and increase our ability to adapt. Let's look at each one of those in more detail. In terms of increasing our ability to adapt, what they suggest is build a culture of research, innovation, and willingness to take risks. Streamline the governance of your club, the structure and its processes. Your governance to foster more diverse perspectives in decision making. So the more diverse your group is, the more likely we are to get really good answers to questions, really good decisions moving forward, because no one person can see all the aspects of a particular issue. When we get people who have different life experiences, then we're more likely to see it in its multidimensional state. Basically, it comes down to following a vision, not just a plan. And there's this famous quote from Winston Churchill during the Second World War where he said, "You can have the very best plan, but as soon as the first shot is fired, you throw it out the window." Because the plan is going to need to change. But if we have a vision of where we want to go, then we can modify the plan and make the vision happen. Enhance participant engagement. engage members in service projects, and develop a participant-centered approach to delivering value, offer new opportunities for personal and professional connection, provide leadership development and skills training. And what I'd like you to do at this point is put into the chat just a couple of ideas about what you would do in a situation like this, engaging members in service projects and really centering on that individual, what value we're going to deliver to that new member. Opportunities for personal growth, professional connection, leadership development. What kind of ideas could you put into the chat to let us know? When you have a new member, you want to talk with that person to find out what their talents are and what their reasons for joining may be. They may have a particular focus in mind that they want to achieve, or it may just be that they want to give back to the community. But we want to cultivate those reasons, employ their talents, and offer to that individual an opportunity for growth. So things like sending them to the Rotary Leadership Institute to do some business networking, to go to a district conference or an international conference. We have the international conference this year is going to be in Calgary, which means it's in North America. So it's going to be a lot less expensive than going to Australia or Singapore. So this is a good opportunity for someone to attend an international conference. It's an amazing experience. Picture 25,000 Rotarians all under one roof. It's an enormous grouping of really incredibly powerful people. So it's really amazing. We want to expand the reach of our clubs to grow and diversify our membership and its participation. So you want to reach out to different ethnic groups, different age groups, really trying to increase the diversity of the group, which strengthens the group. It helps you see things from different directions. Create new channels into Rotaries, things like categories of membership, or maybe you want to create a satellite club or an e-club. Sometimes if there are very diverse opinions about how the club should be run, a satellite club can be helpful. I spoke with one group in Windsor, Ontario. Actually, there's a traditional club. They want to do things in a traditional way, but there's this small subgroup of women, it is, who have been investing in some pretty amazing projects in Africa, and they don't want to do things in the old-fashioned way. They want to do their own thing together, and so they're creating a satellite club within that club. So there are lots of new options, and explore them, because all of those new things can help to strengthen your club. They may look a little scary in the beginning, but they can be a great way to strengthen the club. We want to increase Rotary's openness and appeal. I know traditionally there's been a sort of exclusivity about being in Rotary, and that's really gone by the wayside now. We're very open. Anybody with heart and hands that wants to work is welcome in Rotary. We want to build awareness of our impact and our brand, so the public image, that for every club, it becomes very important. So maybe put a few notions into the chat about what you would do to expand the reach of your club, involving other groups within your community that are doing similar things, and really attract members of those clubs to join forces with you. Here are a couple of suggestions. Who else in your community might broaden your club? So if you reach outside your normal sort of bubble, if you will, enroll other groups that can expand your project. What we've done, for example, with environmental projects in the Brookline Club is to reach out to Mothers Out Front and some of the other good groups in town that are working on similar things. And many of them have joined us, not all of them, of course, but a few people have seen the overlap and are glad to take the power of Rotary into their projects. Make sure that your project is visible, so have good signage, press coverage, social media, so that people know that what you're doing, and meet them where they are. So if they want to come for business networking, that's fine. Let them do some business networking. If they want to talk to other people in their field, that's a wonderful thing too. So we can provide a lot of mentorship and really help people become integrated into the community. Increasing our impact. The suggestions from Rotary International are eradicate polio and leverage the legacy of polio. So the infrastructure that we've created for polio can be used for other things. And so that's what we're all thinking about, how we want to refocus that energy as we come to the end of the polio project. Focus our own programs and offerings. Improve our ability to achieve and measure impact. So when we ask you for information like how many people were impacted by this project, that's what we're trying to measure. Something that can really evaluate the project in that sort of data way so that we can show people what we've achieved, and also to calculate the number of volunteer hours that have been contributed to that effort. And what I particularly want you to do is to enter a goal for what your club is going to donate to the Rotary Foundation Annual Fund. That is a requirement for people who have submitted a district grant, so that's not anything new. And you want to put a goal in for donating to Polio Plus. So we do want that project to come to an early conclusion, and to encourage participation in annual or monthly donations, which you can set up at rotary.org/donate. You know, when we talk about donating $100 a year, if you just put on your credit card a $10 a month donation, it's pretty painless. And you can do that at rotary.org/donate. And your club gets credit and the individual gets credit for those donations. So let me show you how you find out what's the status of your club, what has the club already done, and where are the points that we might want to stress in order to achieve more. So number one, we go to rotary.org, then go to My Rotary and log in to the system, and then you'll get a menu that looks something like this, and you look around for, in My Rotary, look for membership and foundation reports. And you have to scroll down that page and looking for contributions and recognition and the club giving part, and click on view reports. That gives you a list like this. And all of these reports are interesting. It tells you how many people are Paul Harris's and benefactors and things like that. But the one in particular that I want to show you tonight is the club recognition summary. So if you pull up the club recognition summary for your club, you'll get information that looks like this. So I wanted to give you a little orientation to this because it's a pretty daunting looking chart when you first look at it. But the first thing to notice about it is this last contribution column. The last contribution tells you the last time this person donated to any of the Rotary Foundation funds and which fund it was that they donated to. This is the annual fund share. This is the one that helps to set how much money we're going to have for district grants and global grants 3 years from now. So that's an important fund to be donating to, and our share of the total pot is proportional to what we give to the annual fund share fund. And this person gave last to Polio Plus. But now let's look at these dates and look at how many of these dates are after 2020. Not so many. Actually, there are very few donations since 2020, and there are a number of people with 0 donations. All these blank lines, there's a person behind that blank line whose name I've covered up over here. But so there's about 9 people on this one page that have made 0 donations to the foundation at all since they've been a member of this club. And you can see there are a lot of people who haven't given since 2015, 2016. So this is pretty bad. We really want to modify this. And somehow we've lost the spirit of giving in a number of our clubs. And I'd like us to try to modify that. In fact, there's a tally up here. Rotarians who do give, 17. Rotarian non-donors, 14 in this particular club. But this is not very unusual. I've seen this at least 3 or 4 times already, and I've only really inspected about half of the clubs. So I find this pretty concerning. This benefactor, none of these people is a benefactor. A benefactor is someone who is pledged to give $10,000 in their will to payable to Rotary after they pass. So it's just a promise. It's not money given now, but it helps you to continue your work even after you've passed on. The other key thing you want to look at is the foundation recognition points. And I'm not totally clear on exactly how these are calculated, but as you donate money, let's say this person's donated $4,000 and he has 2,000 Rotary recognition points. So what can one do with points? You can use those points to give someone a Paul Harris. Several people I know have given a Paul Harris to their spouse to thank them for supporting them in doing our work. Or they might give one to a relative or to someone in the community that has done good work. So you can do that on a personal basis. You can also do that on a club basis. And this club has 8,000 Rotary points in the bank. So they could give 8 Paul Harris Awards for free. They don't have to put out any money. They've just used their points to do that. So 1,000 points will get you a Paul Harris Award that you could give to, I don't know, the mayor because he's done something wonderful, or the head of some nonprofit organization that's done a particularly good job. You can choose who and when and why, but that becomes a powerful PR tool and a good morale tool. If you award points, award a Paul Harris to someone who's done a great job heading up the golf tournament or some other big event, that's an attaboy. That's a very nice thing to do. One thing I noticed as I was talking with clubs about these reports is that around about 2020, Rotary had noticed that a number of clubs were putting a donation to the foundation on the dues bill. And so they sent out a reminder to everybody that the donations to the Rotary Foundation must be voluntary. They can't just be required on your dues bill. And so a lot of the treasurers just took it off of the dues bill and did not communicate that very clearly to the members. So many of the members I spoke with felt that they were giving to the foundation as part of their dues, when in fact that's no longer true. So I think that's one of the reasons we see that drop off about 2020, 2021. And so I think we need to make that clear. Some of the treasurers are beginning to put that line item back on the dues invoice, but just with a little asterisk that says, be sure that this is a voluntary donation. You can modify this number. This is just a suggested donation. Modify it as you will. And most people will give something. What the Rotary Foundation now is requesting is a minimum of $25 per person per year to the Rotary Foundation, which is really not very much. That $25 won't go very far at Starbucks or McDonald's. So it's not a tremendous request. That's the minimum. And if the club donates an average of $100 per person per year, the club will earn the Every Rotarian Every Year Award, the EREY Award. And that one's been around for a long time, so a lot of people know about it. But that's an average per person, so it doesn't mean that every person has to give 100. But if one person gives 500, for example, that would help the total average for the club. So individuals can earn a Paul Harris. For every $1,000 that you give to the foundation, you get a Paul Harris Award. And that is cumulative. So it could be $100 a year for 10 years or whatever combination it makes sense in that person's budget. Now, the Paul Harris Society is a pledge of $1,000 a year. And so that may be a little much for beginners. The Polio Plus Society is a pledge of $100 per year until polio is eradicated. And the easiest way to do that is set up $10 a month on your credit card at rotary.org/donate. That's pretty painless. And then you've given $120 at the end of the year, so you can make it 9 or 8 or all that. But in any event, that's pretty affordable, and I'm going to be promoting that. I've actually ordered some Polio Plus Society pins, and I'll take them with me when I go to the club visits beginning in October, and we'll ask people to sign up for the Polio Plus Society. I think it's important work, and it's also, I think, a good starter position for people to get into the habit of donating to the foundation. Another one that's kind of painless is to join the Bequest Society, which is that you pledge to give $1,000 out of your estate when you pass away. So you don't have to put up any money now. You can just make that promise. And as Arnie Miller likes to say, that will continue your service beyond self. So thanks to, I got this thank you note today actually in my email, and I thought it was so nice that I wanted to share it with you. And I will send everybody the PDF of this presentation, so you'll have the links. But thanks to donors, Rotary members are uniting a divided nation around a water project in Lebanon. And then there's a link that will give you more detail about that, which I won't go into tonight. But anyway, recognizing a woman's worth and needs in Nigeria, giving a gift of reading to students in Guatemala, raising awareness about the environment in the United States, fighting for a community cure for malaria in Zambia, supporting female vaccinators who are doing more than help end polio in Pakistan. And so there are little tidbits about what's going on in the foundation. I think what we need to focus on is why we give to the foundation, the work that it's doing in the world on our behalf, that the foundation is fueling our district grants, it fuels our global grants, and it also fuels some totally amazing, huge projects in the world, like these that are listed here. But for example, ending cervical cancer in Ethiopia. It's a test project to see if we could eliminate cervical cancer in the same way that we are eliminating polio. So many things that we could continue to do with the health workers and the alignments with the vaccine companies, the tremendous partnerships that we've created for Polio Plus can be used in more creative ways in the future. It's already being used to control Ebola. It was used to control COVID-19. And so infectious diseases, watch out, because Rotary has a methodology that we're working to apply in more than just polio. This bottom business tells you how to see your own giving history. If you log into My Rotary and click on My Account in the upper right hand corner, you can see my donations there, and it'll tell you what your own donation status is.
Your contribution to the Rotary Foundation upholds Rotary's promise to do good in the world. In the words of Paul Harris, this is a changing world. We must be prepared to change with it. The story of Rotary will have to be written again and again. And donors like you are part of that story. Thank you.
감사합니다.
Sì, merci. Grazie.
Danke.
Arigato.
Gracias.
Let me just stop here and see if there are any questions at this point. You'll have to unmute yourself if you want to speak.
Yeah, Joyce, I had a question. This is Victor.
Sure.
And so every Rotarian, every year, that used to be you had to have each individual member giving a certain amount. But you said the average can be.
Yeah, they changed.
Is that new?
Yeah, they changed the rule.
Oh, good. Because there are certain members in our club that really can't afford to give, but there are other members in our club that can afford. Okay.
And that's why it was changed.
Ah, okay.
Barrier to entry for younger people in particular.
Yeah.
With the small children and building a business is probably not in a position to make that commitment, but it eventually will be. And meanwhile, they're part of the average. So one of the things that we've learned, and it's not new to Rotary, is that if you write down your goals, they're much more likely to actually come true. So the Rotary Club Central is a place where we ask you to write down your goals. And you can change them. They're not cast in stone. You can evolve them as the year goes on. But the way you get to this tool is to go to Rotary.org, go to My Rotary, and this time you're going to look around in My Rotary for Rotary Club Central. Once you get to Rotary Club Central, and this is only accessible by some of the leaders of your club, the president, the treasurer, the secretary. If you have trouble getting into it and feel that you should be able to get into it, talk to one of us and we'll talk about it. But certainly the president, the secretary, the executive secretary, the treasurer, those people will be able to get into this tool. So first of all, I want to look at club tools. The little black menu here is what you would see. And you'll see that the goals are organized by these 4 categories of the action plan. So we look under enhanced participation management, increase our impact, expand our reach, or increase our ability to adapt. And in this case, increase our ability to increase our impact. So the first thing we do is check and make sure we're looking at the right year. So up here, you can go forth and back. So you could look at last year's goals. You could see what we did last year. And in fact, you can go forth a year. But right now we're looking at the current year, 24-25. Next, you figure out which one of these 4 categories you want to be in. And we're going to be in impact right now. then you choose a goal. And so this select a goal, you go over and click that little box if this is the one you want to modify. And then you can actually put in a value here. You have to select it first and then put the value in. And as they say, you can modify that during the year. Things are not frozen. So if things change, you can modify it. And let's look at service projects, because I was saying that we wanted to ask you how many people you're going to involve in your service projects, which implies that you have service projects. So in the last couple of years, to tell you the truth, we haven't pushed recording your service projects because the tool that was here, it was very, very slow. It was painful. So I didn't encourage anybody to put anything in there. But this year, the tool has been completely overhauled. It's in good shape. It does very well. And I would like you to record your service projects here, and I'll show you some of the reasons why. So here, I just went in as Brookline, and if the first thing is, we're looking at the current year, and the first thing it tells you is Rotary Club Central no longer accepts new service projects. Okay, because they're overhauling this component. And what they really want you to do is to go over here and add your project. So we're going to click on this and look up at the top here. You get into a page that says, welcome to the Service Project Center, learn more. You do want to read this learn more page. It's very informative. It tells you a lot of the reasons why you're here and also what this component can do for you. It replaces the old showcase, which was very well intended, but it was just awful to try to add something to. But this one I like a lot. It's very bouncy and easy to use and has a very good lookup tool. So do read that learn more page for information. And then if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you'll find browse projects. You can look through things that are already in there and add a new project. And this is a new tool, so it doesn't have a ton of projects in it. So feel free to add your new project. You'll notice down here, find project partners, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. But this is not only to record what you've done, it's also to put in new projects that you're intending to do, and it allows you to find partners, people who might want to invest some money in your project. And as a matter of fact, we have a number of clubs that have never done a global grant, for example. And I've been encouraging them to think about finding somebody else's global grant and making a contribution to it. $100, $500, $1,000, whatever they can afford, put it into that grant. Now you've got skin in the game and you can share in the joy of doing that global grant project. So it's an easy way for a smaller club to get into the game, and it also helps the primary global grant submission club to assemble the $10,000 that it takes to generate a global grant. So we're going to add a new project. The first thing it says is this an established project? It's been planned, it's in progress, or it's completed? Or is it a proposed project for which you're seeking partners? And for example, with a global grant, if you've got part of the money, but you would love for other people to contribute to the grant, this is a good way to find them. It'll ask you to categorize the grant, so you put one or two things in here that categorize what you're doing. Don't put too many of these, but you'll probably need two. Is it community or international? That's one. And then what other category does it belong in? And that becomes important when people are searching for grants in a particular category, if they want to do disaster relief or if they want to do something about the environment, then they will find that by looking at those topics. Where's the funding coming from? Is it a district or a global grant? What's the total funding you need, and how much more do you still need? So would you like other folks to contribute to this grant? And the bottom line is they're going to ask you for photos and videos and links and everything like that. We really, really need those because we want to brag about you. We want to show people all the wonderful things you've done. You've seen some of Victor's videos that he's put together for the district that show the district has put together beds for children and weeded parks and all the other wonderful things that we've done. Have put a lot of rubber duckies in the river. But it's wonderful to have photos and videos, especially just take video with your phone, but do it as carefully as you can. And that gives us raw material to work with. So we want to brag about you. It'll help you to help your club to look back and see the things that the club has achieved. And you can also share your great ideas with other clubs and enlist the supports of other clubs, even other clubs across the world. You'd be surprised how many clubs from other countries become interested in your project. It helps to tell us in the district what you're doing and share your successes with us and also with Rotary International. So putting it all in this database on the internet is very beneficial for all of us at all levels. And we really appreciate you being willing to take the time and do it. So just in summary, let me come back to these 4 key goals. Adaptability. I want the names of your leaders for the next 3 years in Club Runner this fall. And I know sometimes it's hard to get people to step up and lead, but what can we do to motivate them? Things like, we will send you to Rotary Leadership Institute. We will really work with you, not only in your own particular club, but throughout the district, help to support a newer person who's learning the ropes. How many members will participate in service projects? That's to encourage you not only to define your service projects, but to define them in such a way that more and more people can be involved, not just the old guard that always turns out for projects, but make sure those newer people get a job in that project and do that as early as possible. How many members will your club grow by at the end of the year? And increase your club's impact in the community and in the world through support of the Rotary Foundation. And the ultimate goal is to make your club simply irresistible. So, thank you. Any other questions, concerns, anything else you wanted to talk about here? How are we doing?
Joyce, I was wondering for that showcase thing, the service projects. So
yes.
The showcase is outdated.
Yes.
Right. So
that's
the
what's being phased out. Yes.
Can anybody enter a service project, or is it only presidents?
I think it's only the top tier of the people, but we'll have to discover that over time. They may have broadened it. I have no idea, Paula.
Okay.
I'll have to check into that.
Okay.
It's new, but it's looking good. But then, of course, I have lots of privileges, so it's hard for me to say who all can get into it. Yeah. Just as we discover that, just holler, because folks like you should be able to do it. Yes. And here's Ken. Since Ken Mathon is connecting in, I met with his club last Monday, and they've created a video for a conference that's being held in Wales that was curious about his club. And so now that he has a video, we have something that we can use to share his club, even with other clubs in our district. So I'm excited to see it. Hi, Ken.
Hi. Sorry, I'm actually on vacation, but I just got back to the room.
Glad you popped in. I have recorded this and I will be sharing the slides as well as the video.
Okay.
Is there still grant money available this year?
District grants, no, the district grants have been allocated, but you can start planning now for something for next year. That's for sure.
Thanks.
And global grant money, I don't know the answer to that question. Anybody, Jim, do you know?
There is global grant money available.
I
Yes,
don't know the
sorry, I
number,
was
but
on mute.
there is global grant money. Yes. They tend to take longer to put together. Part of the reason is because Rotary Foundation is very careful to make sure that the money goes to the right place for the right purpose and doesn't just go line the pockets of some, person who really should not be taking the money out, which happens a lot when you deal with international things. So there are rules that have to be followed to make sure that the money is being carefully shepherded. But they have a whole cadre, a team of people who are willing to work with you in different parts of the world to help you sharpen up the grant and make sure that it has the right checks and balances in it.
I do appreciate all the information you've shared. And just to confirm, this is going to be sent out to all the PEs, correct? Or presidents and PEs?
Yes.
Perfect. Great job. Thank you.
And Joyce, I'm sure a lot of people on this call don't know about the foundation dinner you're planning. You might want to talk about that.
Thank you. Yes, we're planning a foundation dinner for the 13th of November. It's going to be in Hudson at the Portuguese Club, and we're really excited about it. We've got some great speakers. I think it's going to be very exciting, and we are going to be honoring our Paul Harris members and anyone who has already achieved the major donor category. There are a couple of people on this call who are already there, and help people understand the benefits to you as well as the benefits to the foundation of giving to the foundation and supporting it. We are the largest nonprofit corporation in the world and one of the most well respected. We've won the top category from all of the rating sites for many years, 10 years, I think now, straight. And so, and I don't know if everybody knows, but we even have a seat on the United Nations in recognition of the work that we do in the world.
We're going to have at least 3 and possibly 4 really impactful and inspirational speakers. We're going to have someone from the Gates Foundation who's going to talk to us about the work that we've done with polio, but almost more importantly, how the infrastructure of that program can serve the world in the future when there's another, say, COVID outbreak or the next Ebola or whatever it might be. So, and Rotary's had such a big part in all of that. So that'll be great. We're also going to have a speaker from Raja's Ray of Hope, which is a local organization based in Wellesley that provides schooling for young women in Afghanistan, and their program's been really impacted significantly by, the withdrawal of the US from Afghanistan, but they're still in business. And a lot of Rotary clubs, particularly in our district, have been longtime supporters of their efforts. So we're going to get an update from them. We're also going to be awarding Paul Harris to a non-Rotarian who has been doing a lot of work with a club based in California, providing medical training to folks also in Afghanistan. So I think it's going to be a really you're going to leave the event thinking, I'm so glad I'm a Rotarian and I'm so glad I came to the foundation dinner. And you're going to be really fired up and inspired. So share with your clubs and get everybody to attend. It's going to be a great night.
Susan,
What's her date again?
November 13th. It's a Wednesday night.
How much are tickets going to be? Do you know?
It hasn't been finalized yet, but the price is going to be quite modest. We want to get as many people there as possible because, well, Paula and Johnny and I were just at the conference in Toronto, and it's so inspiring to hear all these stories, see the videos and so forth. And we're going to try to create a little bit of that on the 13th of November and share that with as many people as possible in our district. It's hard to get it when you're sitting just in a small group in one club and you don't realize the breadth of what Rotary is doing and what you are doing with your work and with your donations. It's always heartwarming to me to see that my small contribution goes into this much bigger pool that's created by all the Rotarians in the world, and that together we're doing amazing things. Okay. Well, thanks everybody, and good night. And looking forward to seeing great things from your projects this year.